All right, there you go. All right, my apologies with the rough startup. We got a new software we're trying out, so that might make it a little bit difficult here. See, people are starting to jump on. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Friday night, everybody's out, um, getting ready for the weekend. We got some interesting news that's come in. If you follow our page and our articles that we upload, interesting stuff. Before we get into it, we're just waiting for a little bit of more people to come on to the live and speak with us about the situation that's going on right now with the incoming president and the county sheriff, Maverick County Sheriff Tom Schmerber. We got a few people coming in, a few people going out. Shoot us a thumbs up in the comments, guys. Make sure our audio is working good. If you can hear us clearly, good, give us a thumbs up in the comments. That way we can go ahead and get started with the information that we have for you. And it's pretty interesting that what we're going to be discussing ended up there's a few surprises that happen along the way, and it's going to be an interesting story and a discussion for everybody out there watching. All right. People are still joining in. It's Friday night. People like to be out having a good time. We're going to go ahead and dip into what's going on. So many of you guys saw the news that's coming out. Well, backtracking. So January 20th, a couple of days ago, not too long, we had a new president, the elected president, uh, Trump. He was inaugurated. He officially took over. He officially took over the country as our president. Shortly after his inauguration, they had the ceremony, everything. Um, he's sworn in. A lot of people have made comments about him not putting his hand on the Bible, and that's created a little bit of controversy or a little bit of giving media people something to talk about. But in saying that, he follows another president that was a very popular president that coincidentally was assassinated. Now you had Trump, of course, the attempted assassination. Things would be very differently right now had you know Trump, President Trump, been a little bit, a centimeter, a millimeter turned to the right side and all that. Many of you that follow the news, which I highly recommend being in the time and day that we live in, I do believe that you need to be informed. Now, believe everything to the extent that they're telling you. That's another thing. You have to be a little subjective about that. But so you have Trump coming in. The first thing he did was get with his people, sat at the White House, went ahead and got presented with many executive orders. These executive orders are things that he had been already mentioning for months leading up to the election, and then also afterwards that he won. He continued to mention many things that were his priorities, and a lot of that was stemming from what people were relaying to him and his people. Um, One of those things, a big initiative, was discussing the immigration. President Trump has been one of Biden's biggest critics when it comes to the open border policy or perceived open border policy that Joe Biden, former president, had going the situation that was going on. And we did see, if we're honest with ourselves and everybody's just kind of being honest, in the past 4 years, we saw something that we had never seen before. And I tell you that coming from the eyes of somebody that has been born and raised, lived the majority of his lifetime living on the border, Eagle Pass, Texas, Maverick County. Of course, we saw how everything unraveled, firsthand. Everybody that lives here, and we saw how things impacted. And the past 4 years with the open borders, quote unquote, we've seen, uh, you know, crimes go up, deaths go up to some degree. And it's not a coincidence that these open borders led to some of those things. And, um, those out there watching, how many times have you heard in the news they arrested this illegal immigrant? He crossed over through Eagle Pass, or he was checked through Eagle Pass. The most recent story about that was what the shooter in New Orleans. Um, that the vehicle that came through here was actually, it came through the Eagle Pass checkpoint. The shooter in New Orleans, everybody made a big deal because the vehicle passed through. It wasn't the shooter that came through. It was actually researched and investigated. The vehicle was registered on this Turo, I believe the name of the app is. So basically, that's Airbnb for vehicles. So you rent out your vehicles. That vehicle was under someone's account and they rented it. Um, it was rented across the border, came back to the border, ended up in New Orleans. The guy did what he did, ran over people, shot people. Um, Again, it was not the same person that crossed the border, but nevertheless, that vehicle that transported the shooter did come through Eagle Pass. And those of you watching, how many times have we heard these stories living here in Eagle Pass that, hey, they caught somebody over there and he came through the Eagle Pass checkpoint? Uh, you know, and that's something that you need to take it into account, because that person could have easily, maybe he had an assignment to go do something, or maybe the person that got caught, passed through this border, he was passing by. What if those people that end up getting caught doing something that's outrageous, because we hear them either killing people, raping somebody, things of that nature? What if they end up staying in our community? Talking about Eagle Pass, Maverick County here, close to the border. For whatever reason, they have to stay here an extended period of time. Now, are these people, saying, hey, I'm staying here and not going to do any damage, or not going to do these type of things that I'm going to do in another city, another county, but I'm just waiting here in Maverick County for a day or two. I'm not going to do any of that stuff here. And, you know, uh, if any of us know anything about criminal behavior, is that um, some of it does stem from consistent behavior of being, they engage in criminal behavior consistently. Whether they get caught or not, it doesn't mean that it's not being engaged into, right? So you have these people coming over. We do not know who they are. They're not vetted properly. You could, I mean, people coming from all over these different countries. You have them here staying in Eagle Pass, possibly. A lot of them that have left Eagle Pass have been caught doing things that they're not supposed to. So you get that situation where Eagle Pass is in the forefront, is a corridor for many of these individuals that are attempting to do something, illegal, attempting to do some type of damage to either United States citizens or to, a specific target. But regardless, they're in here not to do good, right? So you have these laws that came about, these executive orders. Trump was sitting down. It seemed like 24 hours. We were seeing the same video. He was wearing the same suit, coming out with these executive orders. You saw executive orders stemming from JFK classified documents, MLK classified documents, RFK classified documents, them getting released to, changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. We saw their executive order saying, um, specifically having to do with the immigration issue. And if you guys follow the news, keep up with what's going on, current events, you would know that right now the federal agencies are out there, the immigration um, federal agencies, investigative branches, they're out there right now, trying to seek out. Well, first and foremost, the statement that was put out was that they were going to seek out those, that have criminal records. They are going to look for those to get them and deport them. As President Donald Trump, he mentioned before he entered as president that he would do so. And he was strongly supported by many, even, I know there's a lot of controversy about the Mexican race, Hispanic race, wanting something to be done about this immigration crisis. He received a lot of support from Hispanics, Mexicans, such as myself, to carry out these things that under President Biden just were not getting done. We got a quick comment. Thanks for bearing with us again. The system that we have right now, it's new. If you like it, it's called Riverside.fm. A studio. There's an option for a studio, and you can do other things with it. But if it could help you guys out, we started using it about 20 minutes before we started this podcast. So big benefit was that we can stream to several channels, and that's what we wanted to do. Everything else we can kind of work around, but the comments, consolidated comments, is one of the things that we needed because it's important for everybody to see all the information that's coming in from people that are watching. Guillermo, we have Guillermo coming in with a comment. Yeah, he says Trump is doing his best. And the other ones we do have actually showed on the stream. Wow, okay, there you go. So again, guys, this is Riverside.fm. It's nice. I used to use StreamYard for those that watch our streams. Now we're using Riverside again. 20 minutes before this stream, we bought it and tried to set it up. It seems all right. Some of the little things that I wish that were there, that whatever, but um, it does have where it shows you the comments, and that's what we were looking for right now. Shout out to Guillermo Roy Morales. He says Trump is doing his best to combat dictator Nicolas Maduro Marxist disorders, is dumping TDA criminal prisoners into Mexico. Also, MS gangs and Mr. Teen Gangs. Their goal is to come to the border and kill Texas civilians. The law enforcement agencies need to comply with the federal U.S. government. The past leftist administration is over. It's 2025. That was a brief comment that said a lot. It said a lot. I mean, I say it's about less than 100 words, but those less than 100 words were pretty impactful. We have seen. I mean, let's be honest. Between those of us that live on the border and those of us that may be watching this stream that don't live on the border, I do. Eagle Pass, Texas, right smack on the border. I go across uh, the border to take care of. Things are a lot cheaper over there. I do that maybe a couple of times a month. Um, Things are not the same the way they used to be. So you have the situation changing, and this goes back to whenever President Biden came in, and he revoked a lot of the executive orders that were submitted by the prior administration, which is President Trump. By revoking those orders, it changed everything in every single border town, not just Eagle Pass, but Eagle Pass was one of those border communities that was in the news every single day. Those of you that follow that can say, hey, we were on Fox News almost every other day talking about these situations, that immigration situations where the city Eagle Pass was being overwhelmed by illegals crossing, and not through the port of entry, but through the river illegally into private property, public property, which was turned into private property for a moment, right? But everything was chaos for a while, chaos to the point where we had thousands, tens of thousands come in a single day, turned our community upside down. Um, the federal enforcement agencies, immigration enforcement agencies, were ready for this big burst. They had the orange plastic chain, all lined up, waiting for everybody to come in. And those were the things that we went through for the past 4 years while former President Biden was leading our country. Um, I could line up many people here locally, and they can tell you testimony after testimony after testimony of how they were affected by the situation that happened. And many of them now are excited of the situation, that a new president is coming in, and one that actually wants to address the immigration situation as aggressively as uh, President Trump is taking it, which is a good segue to coming back to to the topic at hand that we were discussing. Um, we wrote an article recently. The article, of course, as we do what we do in the process of we try to greet you guys, breaking news, the truth coming from a source, a reliable source, which is important. Um, we bring you information. You live in this community. You deserve, as an audience, as residents, you deserve to know what is going on in your community, specifically what public entities are doing: city, county, hospital district, water district, um, you know, all of these entities are public entities. You deserve to know what is going on within these, because more than anything, you guys are funding these entities to carry out certain projects that are supposed to be beneficial to the taxpayers, you guys that fund those projects. Um, that's not always the case. It doesn't turn out to be that way, but if you followed us, you know that we try to shine a light whenever something is going on. We try to bring you the truth as we understand it, and we bring you not only that, but we bring you the receipts. I think we're real good at that, and I think the audience out there is appreciative that we have backup for what we say. Um, that's one important thing that I think a lot of media, not just here locally, lacks in general. And I think that we're pretty good at that. You know, the way we conduct our business may not be to everyone's liking. And I get that. And everybody has their opinion. I don't like certain type of burgers, so I don't go to their restaurants. Right? I mean, just common sense. And that's fine. That's an opinion, a preference. You just don't go to that burger joint, right? But through the years, many of y'all know we had the Rising Texan, where the Maverick Times, now the Maverick Times has, long past the expectations that we had for it. And we have grown into a platform that has some kind of say, influence, and reach into not only our community, but outside of it. So we had a situation where we spoke about an article, an interview that was conducted, that was done by a local news media, La Rancherita del Aire. Everybody grew up, if you're around my age, listening to the Rancherita through the radio station, right? Um, I'm a big person that reads rather than listens, so I'm always on the websites, and as colleagues, I keep up with what everybody is putting out. Not as much as I'd like, but nonetheless, I think everybody in this type of business needs to kind of see what everybody is doing, and how we're doing it, and how we can help each other promote. Now, of course, not all news medias are created equally, and of course not all news medias get along, and that's, it is what it is. It's human nature. It is what it is. But we've noticed many things that sometimes need to get out there, and they don't get out there unless you guys bring it up, or if we try to give the situation, the conflict, some kind of light. And I'll tell you, for some kind of context or reference, the article that we put out about the Maverick County Sheriff, Tom Schmerber, making comments about not following through with um, mandates or procedures that the current administration is trying to follow. Uh, it's a very real situation. Um, a lot of the things that have transpired have kind of changed, where there's many things that happened after that article was written, and the article was written in a way to bring you guys not an influence into the or not an not to implant an opinion into you, rather than letting you guys know the situation as it was unfolding. Now, a lot of the things, and I think this may be the case, is what is told to one news media that may be regionally segregated, or regionally capped, that their news doesn't travel as much. I can see where someone might say something that they don't expect to. No one else is going to know about it, right? I say it here, but they're not going to hear me over there. And I think that situation is kind of what played out here, is that comments were made according to this source, right? And we'll show you what was said, because again, we have a surprise thing that we want to tell you guys where throughout the course of this situation, the article was written, a day had passed. We received a phone call. That phone call was very interesting. And I think you guys need to know the situation because it not only deals with um, this specific situation, but it is very relevant in a bigger picture sense to where you as a taxpayer, you as a resident of this county, of the city of Eagle Pass, some of these things you need to know to be able to make an educated decision, when it comes to vote, uh, when it comes to, and I can relate where things go a certain way, they go a certain way for years, but after 3 years and 2 months, eventually people get tired of seeing certain things. And, it may be a month, it may be a year, it may be 2 years and 3 months for you, but you need to hear this information regardless of how long it does take you to realize maybe we need to turn into a different direction, or maybe something needs to be done and addressed to avoid any kind of other problems in the future. And that's something that I can relate as a taxpayer with you. I'm a taxpayer just like anybody else in this community, city, county, hospital district, school board. So I mean, I relate to everybody in that sense. Is that what hurts your pockets hurts my pockets, and that's the reason why we come out here and tell you about situations that come up, because the situation that we're bringing up right now not only has the potential to bring serious repercussions, but it has the potential to hurt your pocket as the taxpayer. Now, diving into this, um, bringing you up to speed, we know that Donald Trump and he came up with some mandates. I see some comments coming in. Before we fire that up, that conversation up, let's get to some comments here. You guys, it's an interactive podcast, as we've always said, and we like your comments. We appreciate your comments, and we will share everybody's comments. Uh, every other day, we were on Fox News for an entire year, and we still are at least once a week. Because of Fox News coverage, we got Trump to come to Eagle Pass. Paco, I do not disagree with that statement. You're, I mean, I think you're right. I think besides Fox always being here, it did get Donald Trump, President Trump, to come out here, but we did have situations that were unprecedented, and you didn't see things happen the way they happened here. I think this year, Paco, you're around my age. Can you remember any other time that we would see these constant, I mean, it was like something out of a movie while we were here doing, seeing the things that they were unfolding. Some of the things that we went live on were, things that, we never thought we would see growing up. But I think, I mean, I agree with your statement. I may have downplayed it a little bit. It should have been a lot more than just every other day. Fox News did pay us a couple of visits, along with many other news channels that were visiting Eagle Pass, Maverick County, wanting to see the situation for themselves and to provide a firsthand look for their audience. And we were interviewed by many of these news media, the Victory channel, Victory News Media. They were nice enough to interview us. Several independent news media's citizen journalists. We did a lot of interviews with them to discuss the situation that was going down here at the border. Now, many of you watching out there can, resonate with what I had to go through because y'all went through the same thing. Our community, again, if you're around my age, even a little bit young, a little bit older, we didn't see the things that we see now here in Eagle Pass. We didn't see these big groups of people. We didn't see these this radical increase, the big spike in thefts. That is not a random act. That is not a glitch. It is very directly correlated with the number of illegal immigrants crossing over. Now, I will say this disclaimer: not everybody is a bad person coming through. I would say the majority of them are not bad people that come through, but the percentage of those that come through that are wanting to do damage to our communities, to the infrastructure we have here in the United States, and can care less about me and you as people, that small percentage is what is driving you know the resistance against everybody else coming through, because there's been so many times you guys the ones watching right now are the ones that I say are people that are vigilant and are wanting to know what is happening in their community, what is happening in their state, what is happening in their country. You are the guys that want to know what's going on, right? So when we get to a situation where Eagle Pass is on, national stage, where before, I mean, when did anybody know where Eagle Pass was? That alone is an indicator to where goes with what Paco is saying, is that every other day, it's all the time that we're on the news, and even to this day we continue to be consistently on national news, regional news coverage. The other day I had the privilege of interviewing with a publication out of Switzerland, right? Out of Switzerland. So you have everybody within the state of Texas and outside of the state of Texas, the entire world peering into the biggest thing that had happened in 2024, 2023, 2022, which was this immigration crisis, that nobody has seen these types of numbers of immigrants coming over from other country, not just into America, into any other country. I believe I heard that somebody correct me if I'm mistaken, but these numbers compared to another time in America's history where we had, excuse me, mass migration just like this. Now, um, the only difference, of course, is the population of the country at the time. It's nothing nowhere near what it used to be. We're dense, so we have, occupancy here in Texas. Everybody's trying to move to Texas, not just the illegal immigrants. We got California people coming down here to Texas wanting to be Texans. Um, you got Californians trying to act like Texans. You got Californians trying to do news media here in Texas, right? And the consensus on that is don't bring your California liberal shit over here to Texas, right? But yeah, we are now known, Eagle Pass, Maverick County. We are now known in the news media. We are now known everywhere. If people didn't know Eagle Pass, Maverick County, after the past 4 years, they know where Eagle Pass and Maverick County are. That's how bad it is. So now those past 4 years happen. We have a new president. Let me continue in these comments real quick. We have another Paco, not the original Paco. Please do not deport my tia that lives at 1824 Del Rio Boulevard, Eagle Pass, Texas 78852. I can't write this stuff, guys. Let me catch my breath to that one there. Let's put it one more time because I gotta catch my breath. Oh, Paco. It's Paco. Paco. Devastating news that came out of the wagon wheel. I hope they got some help for that guy that was destructing stuff. Don't pick up his Thea 1824 Duro Boulevard. His Thea cooks badass ribs. Don't pick her up. Pick up the guys that are doing some shit wrong, right? Like the one that makes the badass tortillas, makes the badass ribs. That chicken fried steak at Wagon Wheel. Don't pick up that Thea. No, we want our big ass chicken fried steak. We want our ribs. We want to go to Las Brasas and Piedras. We want to go to Wagon Wheel and Las Piedras and enjoy ourselves. Sending an invoice right now to Wagon Wheel for some advertisement on that one. Um, Amber comment, yes, and I have had some interviews as well on the corruption of our town. So Amber Ray Duncan says she's had interviews on the corruption that's happened around town. Uh, Amber, can you elaborate a little bit more, maybe about where you had these interviews with who, and what it was that you spoke about in those interviews about corruption in town? We have Liliana. He claims he doesn't have resources, but he doesn't hire the ones that apply. He only hires people he knows or his friends' friends. That I'm gonna throw this one up there again. Let me change the timing on that one. I didn't know. Look, that's how cool this one is. Is that you can change? It has a little timer where you can change how long the comments are. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off that timer, and we'll leave it up there until I take it down. But this is something that I think everybody should think about. Liliana, I appreciate the comment. We can't verify what she's saying, obviously, at this moment, but it's an interesting statement. Now, I hope you stay with us to the end and find out our situation and how, after the article, which I'm sure you read, because you know exactly who we're talking about. We're talking about uh, the new President Trump coming in with executive orders trying to improve our situation at the border with the immigration crisis that we've been having. And we had our local county sheriff, Maverick County Sheriff Tom Schmerber, come out aggressively strong against what Trump is trying to do. And I'm going to show you guys because, again, we received a call, we had a little bit of criticism, and we're going to reveal to you who called us and what was that criticism here shortly. But to let you know is that, yes, there was a situation. Um, he claims he doesn't have the resources. Guys, that's a factual statement. I'm not sure how Liliana knows, but yeah, I mean, maybe she follows the news. It's been said in publicly by Sheriff Schmerber that he doesn't have resources, that they're taking away resources from him. You know, he's said this before, and she is claiming again. This is Liliana. I cannot, say this or I cannot confirm or deny what she's saying after this. Is that he doesn't hire people that apply. He only hires friends of friends of friends. Now, thank you, Liliana. I appreciate your comment and thank you for, having not being worried and wanting to share that information with us. A lot of people don't have balls and uh, won't share stuff like that with us, but we appreciate it. Um, One thing I want everybody just to take a note, might not mean anything, but hires friends of friends, right? Friends, a network. What would be the best way? This is just food for thought. You guys keep it in your mind, save it back there later. Um, what would be the best way if you were an elected official for any position, what would be the best way, especially if you have a large department, to continue to stay in office, right? What would your strategy be? I'll test people there here in the comments. We have quite a few following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, um, or X. But that's a good one. So, what would you guys do, or what do you think would be a good strategy to continue as an elected official of a big department? One of the things that I can think of right away is I would hire, let's say people that have big families. Um, People that have big families that maybe, oh, he has a big family. I'll hire him at this position. I will get him to get all his family to hire me. And imagine doing that for 40, 50, one of the largest departments, right? Um, that can secure you all types of votes, right? It wouldn't be enough to win an election, but it can secure you votes. Now, one thing I will say, and I do want to give a quick shout out now that I'm on this topic, is thank you to the Maverick County Sheriff's Office and the deputies, uh, the sergeants, the investigators, those people that are out there every single day protecting our community, those out there on the vehicles, um, patrolling, those behind the dispatch at Maverick County Sheriff's Office, those behind the desks and administratively, those supervisors, all those guys. I just wanted to say thank you for protecting our community. I think it needs to be said, regardless of how you feel, of the political type of thing. These guys, deputies, investigators, sheriffs, not only from sheriffs, right? City, police, our federal and state agencies as well. But since we are talking about Maverick County, I did want to extend a thank you to them, the deputies, investigators. You guys do a job that, I don't think many people will do and can do. And I think that says a lot for you guys. Uh, this has nothing to do with y'all. You guys are great. Thank you for what you do day after day, putting yourselves on the line, regardless of who's the president. I know you guys, some of you have preferences and stuff, and it is what it is. But regardless of that, you guys still come out and do your job. And as a resident and as somebody that, regularly is looking at you guys, not in a bad way, but has to observe. Uh, Thank you. I can't say thank you enough. And you guys are not the only law enforcement agency to thank, but you guys do need to be thanked. And not that my thank you means anything, but thank you guys for what you do. Moving forward, so I do think that that goes a long way, and that's not anything that you see hiring friends of friends of friends. I mean, it's a strategy. It's not anything you see relative here to go past. It happens. Is it the best strategy? It may not be. I do know that there's a lot of qualified people there at the sheriff's office. I can't say everybody. I'm not going to say everybody is, but there's a lot of good people there. Regardless of what the stance is by the sheriff, which is the head of the sheriff's office. I do know that there's other people that don't feel the same way he does, and he may know who, he may not, but there is people that don't feel that way, the same way he does, and we'll get to that here shortly. But to understand the whole argument, we have to have some kind of background to it. Um, Moving to the next comment, Paco. That that makes sense, guys. Who would have thought, all of us, that Elon Musk would have visited Eagle Pass, right? One in a million, one in a trillion. Like Elon Musk coming to Eagle Pass for what? He got here. I don't know if Fox did it. It could have been. Nonetheless, like I said, the past 4 years before President Trump took over, it was things that we saw that nobody expected to see. Um, Nobody would expect to see in their lifetime. Nonetheless, here in Eagle Pass in the border, where a lot of us that grew up always thought this town was boring, nothing ever happened, things never happen here, we never get anything exciting, and you know, things changed the past 4 years. I could say that. Moving forward, Amber sends us another comment. I live on Commercial Street, lots of news coverage. I did a few with Canela TV and Univision. I was able to share my concerns with safety and the immigrants that I had seen in my yard. So there you have somebody, Commercial Street. So for those of you that are not familiar with our geography, Commercial Street is 1 block away from Shelby Park, which Shelby Park is, where everything is going down, basically. You have Shelby Park that is, right there adjacent to the river, flows with the river. This is where we've seen hundreds of thousands, I'm sorry, tens of thousands of immigrants in, hours, moments. Um, Shelby Park, so Commercial Street. This is not the first time I hear Commercial Street as a place where you would see illegals on your yard, breaking into cars, getting into backyards, knocking on doors, trying to seek for food, shelter, water, things of that type of nature. So yeah, it's. I'm sure you've seen a lot of traffic go down if you live in Commercial Street. Uh, Also did a Fox Story News. I am all for President Trump. And that was probably something that you would not see 8 years ago. But I think with what has happened in Maverick County, in Eagle Pass, has really changed the minds of many people. Many people that were maybe on the fence, that didn't really follow politics or did not take the time to view in depth into each candidate. I think a lot of those people, again, that were on the fence, could it be swayed, swing as they call them, could go either way. I think the past 8, maybe for sure, the past 4 years really did it. Um, when they saw the situation that was going down, mainly at the border, but it was not just left at the border, as many of us found out. A lot of people pass through the border, but crimes, theft, everything else did not stay at the border. I mean, there was those activities at the border, the criminal activities, but a lot of it did go into the mainland, into Texas, into other parts of the country. And it wasn't until I think our governor, Greg Abbott, was bussing and planing, flying these illegal immigrants out to sanctuary cities, that people didn't really realize this situation is serious. Paco, it would be a lot better if Fox, Trump, and Musk would have come here for another reason, a better one. Yeah, I mean, in my line of business, I've learned that, I mean, uh, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? But yeah, I mean, I wish we could have had a situation where we found some long lost relic of some Civil War history, right? Since we do have that in our community, the Civil War history. Maybe that instead of the whole immigration crisis, because yeah, that put us on the map. But as many people have stressed, I know you've seen in social media and other mediums that people are kind of like, man, we're always on the map for the wrong things. And I wouldn't say all that. We do have a lot of successful youth sports. We have, we have a couple of people that have gone to the pros of baseball. We have other bright spots, right? But yeah, I wish the one thing that would have taken us there where we're at right now would have been something positive other than this immigration crisis. But it is what it is. Again, I go back to that. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Publicity is publicity. That vibration is there. As long as that vibration is twitching, uh, it's twitching, right? Let's see, Amber. When Border Patrol mixed up kids with immigrants at the bus stop for the school, that's not okay. Oh shit. Let me catch my breath on that one, guys. That's Border Patrol mixed up kids with immigrants at the bus stop for school, but that's not okay. That's tough when I'm just catching our breath. Let's resonate on that one there. Shout out to our border patrol, man. They have a tough job. I know a lot of them are didn't agree with the past administration's guidance. Didn't agree with the past administration's, the way they were handling things. A lot of them, left because they needed to leave because they just couldn't handle the bullshit, and that's understandable. You only have a certain threshold of bullshit that one can handle, but shout out to those that stuck it through for 4 years of ridiculousness. There's nothing else you can call it but ridiculousness. Um, Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all are the real heroes. Thanks for hanging in there. Things are, we're hoping they get better. We can only hope. We never can tell what the future unfolds, but oh man, I couldn't even catch my breath after that one. Moving forward, Paco, this mess that Biden made up, some business boom as well when Abbott sent National Guard state troopers. I mean, I think with anything when it comes to politics and uh, anything that could be made into a political issue and can be justified for funding, it's going to get funded. Um, I think if anybody or you guys out there follow not even politics that seriously, if you follow it, just every once in a while when interesting stuff comes on, you'll find that any situation that happens usually leads to some people getting money. Um, Here, you said Biden helped businesses boom. And I mean, I don't know if we should be complaining because Eagle Pass, Maverick County, we did benefit as a community because of the money, the increase of revenue that is coming in and being spent in our businesses, taxes that is being collected by the National Guards, the state troopers that are coming in. These National Guard state troopers, they have to eat, they have to sleep, they're paying uh, one way or another for their room and board. So it's bringing revenue. It's helping the economy for Eagle Pass, Maverick County. I'm not going to deny that, and I don't know if that is a thing that you want to say thank you to President Biden, former President Biden for. I don't know if that results or um, I don't know if that deserves a thank you to him, right? But yeah, our economy has increased. Uh, you know, these National Guard, state troopers, thank you guys for your service. I know many of you are leaving your hometowns, your home cities, in many cases, your loved ones, to come and protect the town that you're not from. And that takes, in my opinion, somebody, it's very big of you guys to enlist and, follow the orders. To protect the city that maybe you guys don't even want to be a part of. And uh, we thank you for that, and we appreciate the income and the revenue that some of the businesses we have here locally are getting from you guys being here. I mean, let's kid you not, like that is a mechanism as well to help out the local economy, and Biden did do that, but at what costs? I do see in the future. I don't know. I cannot say for sure, but I do see now the federal government spending a little bit of extra money for border security here on the border. Um, that's one of the things we are going to talk about is how some of these statements from Sheriff Schmerber could jeopardize some of that possible funding coming down from federal coffers that, federal dollars go a lot more than state dollars, and state dollars go a lot more than local dollars. They tend to have bigger banks, right, as you go up. So one of the things you wouldn't want to do is piss off the guys with the deepest pockets, especially if they have funds that can help out your issues, right? So you have the situation where Biden, thank you. I don't know if I should say that. You brought economy to Eagle Pass, but you also brought a plague upon our city and community where again, I say this so many times, it sounds like a broken record, but our community is not the same as it was when we grew up. A lot of y'all millennials around my age, um, that resonates with you guys because we used to be able to walk to school. We used to be able to walk around at nights to a friend's house down the neighborhood, a couple of blocks down. Those of you that live like in Royal Ridge, Bibb, all that, like of course you can walk a little bit and you'll get a big stretch down. Back in our days when we were young, we could walk that, nobody would bother you. You did not have to worry about any situations. Now, us millennials, as adults, as parents, how many of y'all let your kids walk down the street when it's dark? How many of y'all let your kids walk to school nowadays, especially in the past 4 years? I tell you, my kids don't walk to school. They have to be transported. I would not allow my kids to walk anywhere, knowing that, there's people walking around this community and we do not know what their intentions are. But, I invite you guys in the comments. Has it changed? Millennials out there, um, from when we grew up here in this community to where it is now? Do you let your kids out at night to walk to school and all that, or do you make sure somebody is with them? Situations have changed down here, and I don't know if that's something we want to thank Biden, even though our economy has gone up thanks to the situations. So Liliana hits us with another comment. We're a little bit behind because we're discussing them as we go. This was 24 minutes ago. He claims he doesn't have the resources, but he doesn't hire people who apply. He only hires his friends or his friends' friends. Otherwise, he won't hire you. A friend of mine applied like 2 months ago. So now we see the motive come out with Liliana is that she had a friend apply 2 months. Apparently, he or she did not get hired, but other people have gotten hired. Now, in the comments, if you're willing and brave enough, have you ever heard this type of situation come out from the sheriff's office before? Amber, I think these issues need to be brought up to higher ups. Ken Paxson, that's not a bad idea, Amber. Denise, that's why we have BP and ICE. Um, yeah, to take care of those issues. Um, I do say if there's any funding coming down in the future from the federal side, I think it needs to be taken advantage of. Um, I don't work at the sheriff's office. I could not tell you exactly what the resources are there. Um, we've had heard Sheriff Schmerber several times discuss the lack of resources he has in his office. That's another thing. But in my opinion, the information that was put out by another news media, according to them, what Sheriff Schmerber said was very contradictory to his actions, especially when the Maverick County Sheriff's Office does need funding from whatever source to continue their operations. That things are getting expensive. That doesn't go just for the sheriff's office. That goes for any public entity. That goes for you out there watching. You know, things are getting expensive. Cost of prices for everything, cost of equipment, cost everything, salaries, they're going up. So yes, I understand the cost situation, but to say you are not going to participate or you are not going to follow with what the federal mandate, the federal orders are, I think may be irresponsible, especially when the majority of the operations you carry out as a sheriff, as a county sheriff, are funded by federal and state sources. With what he said, I'm assuming with your comment, you're up to speed. I think that he may, if he were to continue to beat that drum, he may or could put the Maverick County Sheriff's Office in a situation where they may get addressed by a higher law enforcement authority. Now, um, that's one of the things that we were going to speak to you guys. This has gone almost an hour, right? We wanted to address a situation where, again, we received a call, we received this information, but the lack of education of current events by our law enforcement official, elected official there, does not excuse the situation. And we're going to share that with you guys. Again, you guys are watching us, Friday night, 10:30, because you know that when we say things, we come with the receipts, we got the documents, we have everything. I do understand that there's BP, there's ICE, but there's always been strength in numbers and the coordination of adding local officials that know the terrain, know the people, know the neighborhoods better than a border patrol or ICE agent can. And it's no offense to those federal agents, but a local policeman, a local sheriff's deputy, they know their home, right? BPIs, they may get stationed somewhere else. They may live here. They don't patrol like the deputies, like the policemen. They're not in that grind every single day. These people, and I have a lot of respect for them. I have family members. My brother, he was a city cop. I have a lot of respect for him. I hold him in very high regards, and anybody else that has served in the position that he has, because I do know the situations that he had to deal with firsthand, being that he was my brother. So I know, specifically, and that's why I probably have law enforcement, close to my heart, because I see firsthand what they've gone through. Not that I've gone through it, but I had a brother, again, a good guy, and nobody can say anything bad about him. Great guy, but he went through a lot of things in his career here, and it was brief, a couple of years. He moved on and went to better things, as we all wish everybody does. But the situation is that nobody knows their backyard like the person that owns that backyard. And the city policemen know their city streets. I would choose them to navigate me through any city street over a federal agent. Again, it's not that the federal agents are not qualified. It's not that they can't handle it. It's just that those city cops, those county deputies, those sheriff's deputies, they're in that grind every day, right? Um, and the federal officers, I mean, they have other stuff to do. They're taking care of bigger stuff. These guys are in the grind every day, so they know their shit. They know what houses, they know what people, they know where and who to ask these questions to find something that you need to know. And I respect them a lot for that because they're there every day. You have to listen to the people that are there every day. We have Mark now. He doesn't want to support the federal government, then pull his federal and state grant money. Now that you're saying that, I mean, Governor Abbott and President Trump, uh, they're close. From what we've been able to monitor, these people go hand in hand. They are working together for the betterment of our border. So much so that Governor Abbott just recently sent over a reimbursement request of a billion something, multi billion dollar request to get reimbursed for all the border security that Texas had to pay for through the 4 years that the federal government did not do their job. That's what the argument is in that, right? But yeah, I mean, um, I would say you should support the federal government as the federal government, not as this person comes from this party, that person comes from that party. But thank you for your contribution. And yes, I've given water to people before. I have helped immigrants with food, clothes, and piedras. I'm not a bad person. I'm a mother. I understand their pain. Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that you, as a mother, understand that safety for your family comes before anything else. And I think those of you watching out there that are parents understand that and feel the same way. And I think that has changed the minds of many, many voters, not only here in Maverick County, that voted overwhelmingly for President Trump. That has never happened before. They intentionally voted President Trump a Republican for a reason. That's unprecedented here in Maverick County, guys. Denise, do it, Mark, then see what protects all the people in Maverick County. Anybody want to add anything to that? Oh, excuse me. Um, my heart breaks for the kids and the fact that children get abused sexually and kidnapped, trafficked. That's not right. Yeah. I go back to think about the situation. It's not fun. It's funny but scary at the same time. Paco, how many persons or terrorists who watched this were caught in Maverick County? There was quite a few, Paco. There was quite a few. Um, it's kind of scary, right? Like, what if they didn't get caught? What could have happened? Did they have something planned here for Maverick County? Did they have something planned for the neighboring region? Uh, those are things that we will not know, right? But it's scary. But I do think Border Patrol, they saved our lives from stalkers. Okay, thank you for that. Ask the BP. Um, if anybody from Border Patrol would like to jump on right now or be interviewed about the situation, I'm totally open. If your story contradicts what we're talking about right now, or sheds a light, opens a chapter, a book, or what have you, uh, we welcome that, of course. The goal here is to get our community informed about all the bigger picture, rather than focus into what could be, what can be, but the bigger picture of what actually is. So thank you for that suggestion. The stalker wasn't an immigrant. Here's my question. He's trying to stop Trump's laws for Eagle Pass. He can prevent ICE from coming here to our town. ICE is already in our town. They have a building. So we do have agents here, but I think um, I haven't heard of any local raids, but there has been some activity going down in the bigger cities. Of course, their situation is probably worse than ours, being that we're a smaller community. It's less attractive for these people to stay here. That does not make it any more safer. We do have several people, and I do believe that there's people out there that do not necessarily have our best intentions, and they're just kind of squatting right now and waiting around to see what is going to be done, or what instructions they receive, or who knows, waiting until they feel like doing something, and they'll do something, but isn't he against the law to tamper with federal measures? Hmm. That's something to look into, Paco. This mess also has helped out the hotels, restaurants, yes, or well paid, overpaid jobs for migrant crafts. I mean, it's a situation like anything else. Crisis creates opportunities for income. COVID. COVID created an opportunity to get income. Crisis creates an opportunity to create income. Border crisis created an opportunity to gain income. And, through that, there's several niches that get carved out with that crisis that, maybe sometimes other people have it, insight or information beforehand, and it doesn't give us, a fair race to get to those solutions. But nonetheless, those opportunities and those solutions are out there. Um, but let's be real about it. The people that know about these situations that are coming down the pipeline already have people setting up these shops before they even get released. So that's how you see these people move around, and it doesn't matter whether it's COVID, whether it's the border crisis, whether it's some future plague or virus that they tell us it's the same situation. It's going to create income for certain people. That one, you're lucky or tuned in that you're seeing, and you notice a trend, or you've been planning this for a while, and as you push that last domino, the effect is that people are going to come to your business because of what you caused. But I have not let my kids walk alone. They all ride the bus. That's There you go. um, I remember going to some business and I was the only customer. Then this mess happened, and the place is full or sold out. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's changed a lot. Eagle Pass used to be a small community where everybody knew everybody, and nobody was ever unsafe. I think that, I mean, we had things happen, but not to the extent that are happening now, or with the consistency that they're happening now. And that's something to look at, and something to recognize as well. Denise, Eric is a good guy. Yeah, he is. Unfortunately, I'm the black sheep of the family. He's the good guy. Amber. I get that, but everybody has to work visa, work tour visa for even marriage and legal residence. That's just mandatory and normal. You're right, but we're talking about that knows people's families contribute, pay taxes. Criminals are not at churches, they're not at schools, go to the jails, go to the list. Well, I mean, I I disagree with you because I believe criminals are everywhere. Um, I think criminals hide amongst regular everyday people. I think many of us tend to look away at the fact that uh, that they're among us. They're among us, and some of us, uh, some of us support them rather than say, "Hey, something's wrong here." But it's another conversation for another podcast. There's BP sheriff should be helping out one another I would think so. I think that with in working together, especially law enforcement agencies, there's a lot of intelligence, more than anything, intelligence and manpower. Um, the comment I made about the local law enforcement agencies knowing their neighborhoods better than federal agencies, that is very valid. But the other side of the coin is that local agencies do not have the resources that some of these federal law enforcement agencies have. And I think that that's what you're trying to stress is the being able to work together rather than rejecting the other side's policy um, would help facilitate getting to a better situation with this immigration crisis rather than pointing fingers, saying this, saying that, or saying that someone else is right or wrong, right? Pointing fingers. Um, I think that everybody in local law enforcement agencies knows a lot better than the federal agencies. Now, I'm not saying the federal agencies don't have the same intelligence because a lot of them are from here, right? But those same agencies don't have the same fingers on the pulse the way the local agencies have. That I mean, their main thing is the local, right? So that's a different story than having the federal, where BP, they handle the bigger picture of immigration, where local deputies, local police, they handle everything plus that local immigration, that whatever comes through them. They know who's into what, who's doing what, who's selling what. They know who's trying to make moves, who's not making moves. They know what is going on. Not that the BP can't know, but I think that that's where that communication should be strong and can benefit our community as such, right? So Amber's coming down with the last couple of comments real quickly here before we move on. Yes, you're right. Maybe this will help us serve financially. I do remember overcrowded hospitals. There you go. Those are the situations we did. She says our sheriff's office is the most corrupt. It's not me saying that. It's a resident. There needs to be strict laws. Okay, yeah. I, there is strict laws of corruption and chaos already that exist. So that was the comments. We went a quick dive through them, gave you guys a look at what people are saying. Uh, Back to what's at hand, I wanted to share a few things with you. So, the original article that we wrote stated that the sheriff made some statements about rejecting Donald Trump and his President Trump and his policies moving forward as it pertains to immigration. Now, one of the things that I wanted to let you guys know, of course, we had a change in presidents, right? So, having that change in presidents come different policies. And the news that we picked up, where I'm going to show you directly, Um, we picked this up from La Rancherita, just like it says in our article. And this article was written, in a statement reported by La Rancherita. So, in a statement made by the Rancherita, right, or Sheriff's Department, Rancherita, saying is Sheriff Tom Schmerber rechaza acciones de Trump. Patrullas no buscarían en documentos, right? So, pretty much saying that he's not going to be looking for illegals. He's not going to be looking for in individuals that do not have their documents. Um, the actual article goes further to say, nosotros no vamos a buscar documentos, no somos inmigración, dijo. El sheriff dijo que no está contento con llegará de Trump a la presidencia. So he wasn't happy that President Trump became president. He is not happy. No estoy contento, pero así fue. La gente votó por él y ahora nos aguantamos los 4 años. It's funny that he says that because um, I know some people that share that same statement, but about him having another 4 years. Um, I guess everybody has opinions, right? So, I mean, you have here, I'm showing you where we source the document. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, we at the Maverick Times do not have the opportunity to get any type of statement or documents of what happens activity wise with the sheriff's office from the sheriff. We don't receive any kind of report about the arrests. We don't receive any information, any statements directly from them. So we do have a habit of looking at the sources that do have a direct link with him. And La Rancherita is one of those news medias that has, I'll say, the privilege of being able to interview, being able to get stories from the sheriff's office, and not just the sheriff's office, but directly from Sheriff Schmerber. So, knowing that background, seeing this article, picking it up as a source, La Rancherita del Aire, I mean, they're a viable source. And I'll say this, the reason why, number one reason why they are a source, they are a reliable source because they are the ones that are consistently interviewing the sheriff's office week after week about details of arrests or any type of information that is coming out. La Rancherita del Aire is picking that up and distributing at, I wouldn't say at the request, but they're being awarded the privilege from the sheriff's office. That privilege to share information or news from the sheriff's office is not extended to the Maverick Times, but is extended to La Rancherita del Aire. So I would pick up this article as a very reliable source from the La Rancherita del Aire that is writing a reliable article because they are in there week after week interviewing the sheriff on these types of things. So you have the article in front of you. The article we wrote was based on this source saying that the sheriff rejected um, the policies that are coming down. Paco says the sheriff used to be a border patrol agent with his standards. Do you believe he looked the other way as people or drugs were being smuggled? Um, it, it could be. I can't tell you yes or no, Paco. Um, it it could be. I don't put anything past anybody nowadays. That might be the situation. It might not be. But now that you guys are brought up to speed on the article, Before I get to what transpired after the article, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Viva Canine Dog Training, Grooming, and Boarding Center, located at 1388 William Street in Eagle Pass, Texas, 830-335-2111. Guys, if you have any type of care that your dog needs to be trained, to be groomed, going over for a vacation for the week, boarding services are available with Viva Canine Dog Training, Grooming, and Boarding Services. Give them a call. They have a great staff. They care about the dogs just as if they were their own dogs that they were taking care of. We had our dog with them for a while, Max. They took care of him real well. Taught him he was able to sit, give paws. Several obedience classes that he's went to. We were very impressed with the situation, how he came out, and how he was able to respond after the training. Um, Councilwoman Monica J. Cruz is running for mayor of the city of Eagle Pass. One of the things that brings to light that she has been able to do is that she was able to force investigations and a look into the 57 South Music Festival after a $2.35 million loss for the city of Eagle Pass. Uh, Councilwoman Monica J. Cruz was one of two voices that pushed transparency and push opening the books and revealing the situation to the residents, even though she was highly scrutinized by the rest of the city council. She has been in as a city councilwoman for the past 4 years. She has the experience as a councilwoman, and she knows exactly what needs to be fixed at City Hall. Vote for Monica J. Cruz, councilwoman for mayor mayor of City of Eagle Pass. It's a political paid advertisement by the candidate. Mayor candidate, chairman of the hospital county board, Arona Valdez. Arona Valdez comes in the height of the calls for new blood in elected offices. This is the growing theme, not just in Eagle Pass, but everywhere else. People want to see new blood, different faces running these political positions, these political offices, making decisions for our community. The call has never been as big as it has now. Everybody wants to see a new face there. The successful businessman is looking to bring some of his concepts that he has implemented at the hospital district into the city of Eagle Pass to watch it flourish as the hospital district has. Again, this is a paid political advertisement by the candidate. Guys, so moving forward with the sheriff's thing, you have you have a situation where a sheriff mentions certain things to a media. We picked up the story, we let it out. The article we wrote got close to 50,000 views. So this situation is out. People are hearing it. People know what's going on. Let me tell you what happened. The situation. Our followers have dwindled down a little bit. It's getting a little late. But for you guys, extra bonus, you guys get to hear the situation that happened to me earlier. So we received a call. We got a call from the sheriff himself. He was not happy about the article we wrote, about the Facebook post we wrote, about him possibly facing legal action moving forward. We got a call from the sheriff. He actually threatened us with a lawsuit. He told us that he is going to seek legal representation. And what he says is that what we said, the Maverick Times, was not correct and was false. Um, It was a brief call. It was about maybe 2 minutes. He was, yelling parts of the article that we had wrote out that he was claiming was not true. We told him that we saw the article at the Rancherita, and that's where we picked up the information where he rejected to follow Trump's policies. Again, according to the source, La Rancherita, that regularly interviews, regularly post stuff about the sheriff. I'm not sure if they receive advertisement funding from the sheriff, but it might be very possible. But this is a news media that regularly goes and does news for the sheriff, or does news from what the sheriff reports. Uh, like I said, that is why the article is relevant, because this is a person that the sheriff has pushed news through, has given information from the sheriff's office to. So we see that as a legitimate source. We pick up this article, we post it, we receive a call from the sheriff, stating that we're wrong and making a threat to us that he is seeking legal action. He is going to seek legal action because what we are saying, the Maverick Times, is false. Now, we didn't make the statement to the press, the sheriff did. We picked up the story and represented that story as according to what the Rancherita put out. That's what the Rancherita put out. Sheriff, um, we didn't finish discussing what we had to, but I think you need to speak to them because we got our story from them. Now, he was also bothered by the fact, or by what we stated, is that he could face some type of legal issues because of it. Now, there was a memo that was released by the acting deputy attorney general. And in this memo, it states that the local officials are expected to follow the federal guidelines or the federal orders as it pertains to immigration. And if they do not follow or are not in compliance of, it could lead to further legal issues, which is what we said on our articles. Now, I believe that the sheriff's claims, or threats are unfounded because it wasn't content, or it wasn't anything that originated from us. Rather, we were picking up a source, which, it's what we do as a news media. We watch all news medias, we watch everything that is coming out from everywhere, all the data that is coming out, and we pick up on that. So you have a situation where one of the news medias that regularly puts out news from the sheriff's office for the sheriff's office, now they're saying this, the article you saw, that's where we got our information from. Now, there is a memo that does state that local officials are expected to follow the law. If they are not, it could lead into legal complications. Saying that, again, we um, strengthen our opinion in that, we're not saying anything is happening. We're not saying anything that it has happened. We will share the memo that was released by the acting deputy attorney general, of course, but it's all out there in the public. It's things that are researchable. It's things that if you get on Google, hit the right keywords, you can have an answer to within the minute, within 30 seconds. But rather than doing that, I received a phone call, um, a threatening phone call from our county sheriff, and about what he said to another news media. Now, as irresponsible as what the sheriff said to that news media, that is irresponsible on his own part as an elected official. That has nothing to do with a news media reporting about what another news media said. But one of the things that taxpayers need to be looking at is, why is the sheriff making these comments that can, may, or could lead to complications with federal and state grants moving forward, where his and other law enforcement parts or departments within the county stand to lose millions in grant funding if they refuse to cooperate with the current administration. Why is the sheriff you voted for publicly, publicly resisting to follow orders given from federal, uh, from the president down, to get this immigration crisis under control? Right now, the sheriff has to be able to carry out the operations he is receiving funding. So if funding were to cease, he would not be able to do the operations as he is conducting currently. Um, a lot of us that grew up in my age, the millennials, have heard a saying. And I think the saying, it wasn't invented with the millennials. It was said probably with our parents, maybe, probably even before our parents' time. But, and it's common sense. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. By the comments that Sheriff Schmerber made to La Rancherita, the way they were interpreted and distributed by La Rancherita, it seems that Sheriff Schmerber was resistant to the policies that President Trump is trying to carry out. If you're resistant to the policies that they are trying to carry out, they can and will pull your funding. They will wrap you around legal challenges for what you're doing. Three, they just will not deal with you. And as much as Maverick County Sheriff's Office needs that funding to carry out the operations, we need those we need grants funding to continue, right? So a lot of the concerns I'm receiving from citizens, and this is citizens, and this is why we say he's receiving a lot of backlash, is because a lot of citizens are upset that he is not willing to cooperate with federal authorities. He is not willing, again, the way that Rancherita said it, he is rejecting what President Trump is trying to put in place. Now, you as a taxpayer should be thinking, why are you putting our funding in jeopardy? Because public safety is the number one need in any community, and public safety is underfunded in Maverick County because of the resources that we lack. Maverick County Sheriff's Office depends on these grants, and if they do not have these grants to run their operations, you will not be safe at home. Regardless of what I think, and this is my opinion, of the irresponsible comments made by Sheriff Schmerber, I believe that more than anything, the sheriff does need to work with federal authorities to ensure any grant funds or any possibility of funding from the current administration that just got implemented that wants to make a highlight of this border situation. Why is the sheriff not reaching out to President Trump's office and trying to secure something better for you guys? More protection for you, the taxpayers, more funding for you, the taxpayers. That is not being done. What is being done is challenges to the current administration's immigration policy, which is putting or can put Maverick County Sheriff's Office at risk in the future for receiving funding to address this immigration crisis that Maverick County did not ask for. City of Eagle Pass, did you ask for an immigration crisis? No. We are having to endure this situation, and we need all the funding that we can get. Federal funding dollars go way more than any other agency, and we have our county sheriff, according to the Rancherita, rejecting to follow President Trump's policies. Guys, that's a lot to unpack. I'm going to let you do that. We are going to provide you with an article that has every single thing that we discussed and is going to provide you with the documents, including the memo that was distributed from the Deputy Attorney General's office in reference to if local officials do not comply with the federal orders on immigration, they could face legal challenges and possibly more. We have that memo. We're ready to share it with you. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're signing off. Have a good night, Eagle Pass.